Well, summer is unofficially over, or so it seems where I live. After Labor Day in the US, my town gets slower. The tourists have gone home and will not return until late September when the leaf peepers arrive to gaze at the brightly colored fall foliage. No kidding, it's a thing. Today, I would like to share with you 7 lessons I have on what to incorporate into your everyday that I find to be true when traveling on vacation. Number 1, believe you're going to be back. One of my vacation mantras is that I don't have to see everything. I can always catch it on the next visit. Sales calls, especially inside sales, telephone sales calls, need that exact same attitude. You have to believe that you'll get them on the phone again. You'll have the opportunity to have another conversation. Because let's face it, a typical inside sales conversation takes multiple phone conversations to gather all the details, all the information, to fully understand what they're trying to accomplish, to give them great ideas that they can implement. And that means we also need to remember to debrief after the call so you know what you've missed and want to talk about next time. Number 2 might seem like an extension of number 1, but it's a tad different. I'll call it, if it's Tuesday, this must be Belgium syndrome. That's after the 1969 movie where a busload of travelers rushes through 9 countries in 18 days. When in the rush to get all the things that you can do out, makes you only scratch the surface. And therefore we miss what's important, what's fun, what's exciting, what's different. Once in Edinburgh, my husband and I spent the entire day at the National Museum of Scotland and didn't even see everything. If we had worried about seeing everything in the museum, let alone everything in Edinburgh that day, I wouldn't have seen the midsummer chronophage, which was on display and is really cool. Think back to the last sales call you made where you tried to cram everything in and maybe you could possibly do something for someone in the company. The prospects only hear what's relevant to them right now. Don't waste your time or theirs with anything else. Come up with an idea, find out the problem you might help them fix. Ask more questions about what's going on there with them. Dig deeper or you're going to move forward more quickly in the conversation, you might think, until you get off the phone and you realize that you don't know anything, or you certainly don't know enough. Number 3, do not weep over the little things that don't work out. There was a particular tour on a particular vacation that we were interested in taking, but unfortunately, I couldn't pull it together. And by the time we got there, it was full. At that moment, we had a lot of options. Be sad, be mad at each other, be disappointed. You get the idea. On vacation, in life, in sales, we control our emotional responses. And my 3 favorite quotes on the topic are, number 1, I'm convinced that life is 10% what happens to me and 90% how I react to it. That's a Charles Swindoll quote. Then there's Bob Bitchin, who is one of my dad's favorites. The difference between an adventure and ordeal is your attitude. And to stay on that emotional tie, but a little bit of a twist, is Eleanor Roosevelt, with no one can make you feel inferior without your consent. That's all about making sure that we have the right emotional response, that we are in control of what is happening to us, at least that 90% that Charles Swindoll talks about. 10% we can't change. It's the thing, the situation, the comment, the conversation. But what we do with it is up to us. Number 4, look for the extraordinary. On vacation, people, including me, tend to look for the extraordinary, the wonderful things that you can see, that you can do, 100% present in that particular moment. Yet when you're at work, I think we're expecting dull, routine, commonplace. And while I truly believe if you aren't looking for the extraordinary, you're never going to see it, think of something you took notice of on your last vacation. It stuck with you enough to take a picture, share it on social media with your friends. And now think about the people who live where you are visiting. Do you think they stop and look on their way to the grocery store, work, to pick up their kids from school? Too often, if we're not looking for the extraordinary, we're going to miss it. And in sales, that's true as well. If you're not listening for the things that are going on in the conversation that are going to help you help the prospect, that are going to help you win the deal, you're never going to see them. You're never going to hear them. You're never going to recognize your ideal prospect for who they are unless you're looking for them. Number 5, enjoyment is not predicated on the weather. Now, I travel a lot in Northern Europe, the British Isles, when I go on vacation. So a lot of people in Ireland and Scotland kept and keep apologizing for the weather. In fact, one of my favorite taxi driver quotes was in Linlithgow, Scotland. Quote, "If you see a tan Scotsman, it's because he's started to rust." My reply was the same. We didn't come here for the weather. In sales, if you are looking for one thing to determine a successful day, a successful conversation, I think you're setting yourself up to fail. Instead, I would suggest you choose 3 things that are going to show you success indicators. You have a much better chance of leaving feeling you've accomplished something that made the conversation or your day worthwhile if you have 3 opportunities to hit that. So stop looking for the close of the deal or some imaginary action item that you think they're going to take as the one way you're going to decide whether or not you're successful. That's like waiting for the weather to be perfect to do anything. Number 6, tired equals cranky. Now, this shouldn't be a shock. At least it's not a shock to me. I've known for a long time that my ability to separate my emotions from the situation dramatically decreases the more tired I am. Getting off a transatlantic flight, getting lost in Dublin on the way to hotel while walking in the rain is merely a great representation of that knowledge. How about in your sales life? What makes you cranky? What gets you upset when you're more tired? If you don't get enough sleep, does it affect your effectiveness? Don't say that 10 times fast. And after a particularly challenging sales call, if you're feeling drained, what do you do? Have you figured out how to keep your emotions from running away with you while you're still on a call that's going the wrong way? Number 7, our final lesson. To make memories, it has to be memorable. That might sound a bit strange, but 3 guys dressed as monkeys in a Dublin bar were memorable enough for me to ask if I could get my picture taken with them and actually maybe buy them beers afterwards. That quotable taxi driver, he made me laugh, and I'm quoting him still. He wasn't our only taxi driver, but that was a big part of my vacation memory. Now, there are 2 very different sales lessons here. The first is, are you memorable? Are there things you do that are unique that people remember you for? What do your current customers tell you they think of you? Have you been asked? Is your phone demeanor one that sparks recognition when you tell someone who you are? Maybe you don't even have to tell them who you are. They know just based on your voice. Second, are you making memories? Do you pay attention and look for those extraordinary things on your sales calls? Are you in the moment with your prospect? Or are you thinking about what you'll say next? Are your call notes like a vacation postcard that will spark your interest and memory when you read them the next time before you call someone back? And there you have it, my 7 lessons from vacation that you can implement in your sales life. Number 1, believe you'll be back. Number 2, don't cram everything in. Number 3, don't weep over the little things that don't work out. Number 4, always look for the extraordinary. Number 5, enjoyment is not predicated on the weather. Number 6, tired equals cranky. And number 7, make memories. You have to first have it be memorable. Have a great week.